You have these amazing ideas and you just want to get them out and you can't, or you don't know how. And you think that you need to quit your job to do so. But I'm here to tell you that you don't have to do that. And it's not exactly what I did. And so I'm trying to warn women against what I did so that you don't have to suffer a lot of the heartache and the pain. Now, there was this book, the author and the seminar guru, his name was Jim Rohn. He's like, you work your job and you build your business on the side. And when your side business continues to make you more than your real job, then you quit your job and then you can work in your side business full time and it becomes a full-time job. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that, because here's the thing. Here's the thought process that we go through. We think that in order for us to grow a real sustainable business, we have to spend all this time in the business. And because we need the time, that means we need to quit our job. It's exactly what I thought. So I ultimately ended up quitting that job. But here's the thing though. Although I quit the job, I was still smart about it. They still hired me back as a consultant. I was still making money working for that same job as a temp employee. But what I didn't have is I no longer had health insurance through that employer. And I'm lucky and blessed that my husband was able to pick up the slack, but that's what most people won't tell you, right? Most people won't tell you that they have somebody on the back end helping them pick up the slack when they decide to quit a job. So here I am. I did quit my job. Luckily for me, my husband had health insurance on the back end and he was able to pick up that slack. But, you know, I was still trying to work this and build the business, and clients didn't come right away. I had some clients, of course, before I quit, but my whole thought process was that I need to quit so I can have more time to get more clients. No, you need to work your job until this side business can produce enough income on a consistent basis. When I say consistent basis, 6 months to a year, and you know without a shadow of a doubt that this is going to continue and that you can quit your job, because it's a fallacy that you think that you're going to quit and then grow the business. No, that's backwards. That's the wrong mindset. So I quit, started growing the business, but it was a struggle. Yes, my husband had income, but we are and I will consistently say this, we are a 2-income family. And if one person ain't making income, that means we are a 2-income family with 1 income. What y'all think happens? You struggle. We struggled way too much. And so I'm going to say this to you. I get it that you want to leave your job and you want to start this business. It's commendable. It's noble. But what's not commendable and noble is struggling. You don't have to do it. What needs to happen is that you need to realize, if you are fortunate enough, right? And I'm going to say fortunate because you do know the time that we're in right now, right? There are people who are forced to leave the only employment that they have to put food on the table. So if you're in this place right now where you actually have a job, consider yourself blessed. So what we want to do is, as we are going through this whole process, I want you to first understand that it is not necessary for you to have to quit your job in order for you to build this business. Here's the first thing. Number one, we got to realize that the job that you have is a blessing. And the reason why that is not only that it probably allows you to pay your bills and your rent and put food on the table, but it also can provide seed money for your business. Most businesses cost money. Why not allow the job that you have to continue to pay you while you grow something for yourself, right? Because this money that you make over here from this job can be seed money for you to grow the business that you are actually wanting to grow. And once you can understand that, then you can actually move forward and build this business. But as long as you're thinking that the job that you have is a hindrance to you growing your business, more than likely you're going to struggle. You're not going to be as successful as you want to because you're thinking that you're being hindered when in all actuality, this is not hindering you. This is helping you. It's giving you stability. This is what happens when you quit your job in order to start a business. What you do is you are expecting a newborn baby to support itself. And you know that newborn babies can't do nothing. They can't sit up, they can't walk, they can't eat, they can't feed themselves, they can't do nothing by themselves. When you quit your job prematurely to start a business, you are expecting your baby business to support itself, to be fully grown in the instant that you quit your job. That's unreasonable. When I first started my first company, it was unreasonable. And I look back on it now and I was like, oh, I just didn't get it. And I didn't heed the word of people, because there were people who told me, just like I'm telling you not to quit your job, there was people who told me that as well. But I just knew without a shadow of a doubt that I had to quit. And that's what I did. And I struggled. So your mindset has to be, this job right now is a blessing and it's going to help me grow my business to a place where at some point I might possibly be able to quit this job because this business is booming. Number 2, you have to really, really, really be strategic and get your timing together, your time management together. If you are not used to being able to manage your time wisely, this is going to be a difficult thing for you. A lot of coaches out there are going to tell you that this thing that you're attempting to do is easy. But let me just come and tell you right out the gate, Kiki's truth bombs, that what you're attempting to do is not easy. It's not easy, but it is absolutely doable. And I've taught hundreds of clients how to do it. So heed my words, right? You're going to have to become better. You're going to have to become better with your time, your energy, the way you roll, the way you sleep. You're going to have to become better. And so here's what I mean. If you work a full-time job, what does that leave you? That leaves you the time before you go to work or the time after you get off of work, for the most part, to build your business. And this is what I'm saying. You're going to have to get super strategic with your time management skills. When I was growing my business in the past, I would work on my business after I got off from work. And was I already tired? Yes, I was already tired. But here's why I'm about to say this. And this is so true. You don't build a business because it makes money. You build a certain business because you're passionate about it. Now, a lot of people might disagree with me, right? Hear me when I say this. I'm not saying that the goal is not to make money, because the goal of starting your own business is to make money. But hear what I said. You don't start a business just because that business makes money. You start a business because you're passionate about the actual business itself. And I want to give you an example. I used to be in a company a long time ago. It was a real estate company, and it was also an insurance company, but it was also under network marketing and all of that kind of stuff. I ultimately joined that business because I wanted to speak on the stage. I wanted to be the person to motivate all of the people who were in the audience, right? But how do you do that? You have to do the business. And the business was selling real estate or either selling insurance, neither of which I was passionate about. And guess what happens when you do that? It is not sustainable. It's absolutely not sustainable. You need to find something that you're passionate about. Okay. So let me go back. You're going to have to be strategic about your time, because the time that you have is either before work or after work and on the weekends. And if you are passionate about this business, you're willing to sacrifice that time. It's a sacrifice you're going to have to make regardless of anything. You're going to either need to choose to get up early or stay up later. I have another philosophy. It's a Kikiism. One of my Kikiisms is that you can do hard things for a certain period of time. And during that certain period of time, it's going to potentially take sacrifices that you might not ultimately have had if you were not doing that thing. And everybody's certain period of time is different for you. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Y'all know something like going back to school is going to take you a couple years. And I was going back to get a PhD. So it's going to take me a couple years to do that. But for me, because I knew what the goal was and what the outcome could be after I completed my doctorate, it was going to be beyond phenomenal. I knew that I could sacrifice and I needed to sacrifice that time. So while I was, doing that, I kept on telling myself, this is for a short period of time. This is for a short period of time, and I'm going to be able to overcome this, get back to the businesses. And guess what? I graduated and I have been able to do just that. And that was a very difficult time in life, but I made it through. I have two amazingly successful companies, and I'm helping women all over the world find the careers that they love and build the businesses that they want because I endured for a short period of time. And so I go back to say that when it comes to you managing your time to grow this business, you're going to have to be strategic about it. What I need you to do here is I need you to map it out though. What does that look like for you? I need you to choose whether you're going to get up early or you're going to stay up late to grow this business. I need you to choose which days of the week that you're going to get up early and stay up late. And like I told you before, it can be tough, but what is it worth to you? What is it worth to you? What happens a lot of times is if we quit our job, I've seen so many women have to go back to work. Ain't no shame in the game. You got to do what you got to do, right? But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help you not make that choice in the beginning, right? I've had so many clients who've had to go back to work because this business thing, it ain't to be played with. If you keep your job and you do what I'm telling you about your time, you have the opportunity to be so amazing with it. So if you are listening to me right now and you have quit your job in order to start your business and you are struggling, girlfriend, go find a job. Stop putting yourself through this daggone torture that you're doing. We got to get out of that mindset that we are here, we grinding, we have to struggle. No, you don't. Now, granted, I know that this is a really interesting economy right now, but I do know that jobs are still available. Yes, is it maybe a little bit harder to find and to get on? Absolutely. But I have a class about that as well. So check it out. Because, my goal is to give you what you need in order to survive and thrive during this time. But if you are listening to me and you out here, you struggling because you ain't got no job, because you're trying to grow this business and you think that you're some hero because you haven't taken a job, but you're also struggling, sis, there is no glory in struggle. I want you to start applying for jobs because that's how you're going to really grow that business. Is that you feel stable and supported. When I went back and got that job, man, life did this. My own coaching company did this. Guess what? Because I wasn't stressed about money. I wasn't stressed about having to put food on the table or keep a roof over our head because I had a job. So where we are at right now is that you're either choosing to work in the morning or to work at night, and you're choosing the days and the amount of time that you're going to do it. And you're going to then do it. You're going to work on your business in the allotted amount of time that you say you're going to do. You have to do this for a significant amount of time in order for it to work. And at some point in this journey, the tides are going to begin to turn and you're going to start having more clients, making more money, and that is going to accumulate, especially if you're good with your finances. And then at some point, maybe in the future, I don't know how long it's going to be for you, but you will be making more money than what you're making on your job. And then you can transition into your business on a full-time basis. That's the path. You actually got to do it. And here's where most individuals who want to be entrepreneurs fumble the bag. You say you're going to do it, but at the end of the day, you don't actually take the actions to work on your business before or after you get off of work. And therefore, it doesn't grow. And then you start thinking, oh, I need to quit my job in order to do this. But you haven't even proved to yourself that you can do the work while you still have a job. But you see how you get the wrong idea? Because you're not motivated or you're tired after hours. I get it. I understand. I was dog tired. But yet and still, what do you want more? Yes, it's going to be hard and you're going to be tired. But you said you're passionate about this. You said you want to live an amazing life. Well, guess what? Girlfriend, it's going to take some sacrifices for you to get there. I sacrificed for years. I remember when I made my first six figures in my company. Let me tell you, when I tell you we celebrated hard because I had been struggling prior to that for so many years, but I had to be honest with myself and let myself know that I wasn't really doing the work before that to get to that place. And so some of us need to be honest with ourselves. You don't need to quit your job. You just need to do the work after hours or before work. You just have to get it done. And I want you to do that for a consistent basis. And when you do that, the goal is that you ultimately are able to transition from that job to your business on a full-time basis. But you can't do that before you have traction in your side business. You can't do it before you do that. Remember that you have the ability to make your dreams come true. You just got to go after it. All right. Talk to y'all next time. Peace.